So you are thinking about buying a house and somebody told you it was stressful. Why is that? Sounds exciting, doesn't it? It's like going on a big shopping trip. You're going to buy a house. So what's so stressful about the process? If you're not prepared and you don't know the steps and you don't have good communication with your agent, it can be stressful. Today, we're going to talk about some of the areas in the buying process that can cause you stress, but we'll also talk about how to alleviate that. The stresses of buying a house, that's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now.
I'm Sherry Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia.
The first step that some buyers get all stressed out about is the pre-approval process from a lender. So when you go to buy a house, you need to show that you can purchase that house. And if you have cash, you'll show them bank statements that prove you have the cash to purchase and the funds needed to close. But if you are getting a mortgage, which the majority of us are getting a mortgage to buy a house, you have to get pre-approved. It is imperative in the DC market that you are pre-approved for a mortgage before you write an offer. You've got to present that pre-approval letter to the seller with your offer to show that you can do this, that you are committed, fully committed, and you've even got a lender on board who's ready to work with you too. And so some people find the process of giving over all of that information to their lender stressful. Trust me, the lender does this all day, every day. They've seen every type of situation, good, bad, and the ugly. They're going to be okay with seeing your information. The truth is, getting pre-approved should give you a bit of relief.
Whew!
You'll know what you are comfortable spending in terms of a total purchase price and then in terms of a monthly payment. Don't let the pre-approval process stress you out. Actually look at it as a relief, a way to feel comfortable at the beginning and all the way through to the end of the home buying process. The next thing that kind of trips some people up is simply the search. It can take a while to find the right thing, and if you're too picky or you have too many must-haves, it can take even longer. And in our current environment, when inventory is low across the country, it can take even longer. But don't let it stress you out. You put together a list of needs first, wants second, and go by that list. If something is needed for you, let's say a big backyard, there's no need to even go tour something that doesn't have that. Don't go fall in love with a house that doesn't have the yard that you need and then have to decide if you're going to buy it because it doesn't have that. Just don't go see anything that doesn't work. That will help. The time can be stressful, especially if you have a rent situation to get out of, or if you may have to renew a lease or something like that. That can cause people to have a little bit of stress. My advice there is to start early. It's better to have a couple of months that overlap with a rental and your new place rather than to be worried and have to buy something at the 11th hour just because you need a place to go. People get overwhelmed with the sheer decision to put in an offer. You've got to trust your gut. If you've gone through and made that need list and the want list, and you're checking off the majority or all the boxes from what you really need and some from what you want, that's a win. You're also going to know probably when you walk into the home. Most people do. Some people do need to sleep on it overnight to confirm that they like it enough to buy it, to live in it. The other thing is to not listen to everyone around you. A lot of people want to take friends and family and coworkers to tour a house with them, and that is usually not a great idea. This is your house and this is your investment, and it's going to be your place. You want to pick the place. Don't let those outside influences influence what you do. Some friends are going to love it and some friends may not. Some family members are going to love it and some may not. And then you're just in this conundrum of what to do. Buying a house is not pleasing others. Buying a house is finding your home. Some buyers get stressed out when it's time to put pen to paper. They're confident that the house is right, the condo is right, but oh my goodness, the terms. How much do I offer? Do I do a home inspection? How many days do we do that? Do I have a finance contingency? Do I have a rent back or a post-settlement occupancy agreement? All these things to talk about. Again, talk to your agent. Go through each step of the contract and realize that there's more to a contract than just price. Finding out what's important to you in those terms and also knowing what's important to the seller for those terms can make writing your offer easier. If there's something you can give on but the seller really needs, maybe that's what you do. Here's a good example. Maybe you can close in 30 days, but the seller really needs 40 because their mover isn't coming in 30 days. Maybe that's okay with you. And that's a term you write in their favor, if you will. Something that makes them feel good about your offer. So go through each term of the contract with your agent and make sure you're putting down things that make you feel comfortable and also help produce you a winning offer. Waiting and waiting. And an offer has been presented and we're waiting and we're waiting. Sometimes you don't get an answer fast. Sometimes the seller wants to think about it. Sometimes the seller has multiple offers to consider. Sometimes they get really busy at work and they just can't get to your offer that day. Whatever it is, it can be stressful to sit and wait. My advice here is to keep yourself busy. Don't expect an answer in an hour. Don't expect an answer in 5 hours. Be prepared when you turn in an offer, you're not going to hear till the next day. And that way, if you magically hear before then, it really makes you feel a lot better. Your agent will call you if they have an answer, or they'll text you if they have an answer. The seller is going to take some time to go through the offer with their agent. They may not be available the minute your offer gets turned in. They may not be able to talk for several hours, and then they have to go through all of the terms and talk about it. And even the signing process on their part. If they are going to agree to your offer, they've got to countersign against all those tiny little boxes that you had to sign in. So just remember that it does take time. And if you presented an offer, go do something fun. Go to a movie. Go do grocery shopping. Do anything that'll keep your mind off that offer while you wait to hear from your agent. Getting through the different steps of the contract can also be a little stressful to some people. The truth is, I tell people a lot of times my role is really one of project manager. When you've got a contract, whether you're the listing agent, the seller's agent, or the buyer's agent, you really need to be a good project manager and listen for that as you talk to your agent. Are they going to help you keep up with all of these deadlines? Are they going to remind you of the things that you need to do so that you stay on track with every term of your contract so that you stay in compliance? And then lastly, it's always at the very end, you're waiting to hear from the underwriter that you have the clear to close. Sometimes it doesn't come until the day of settlement, and sometimes it comes before. It's an approval process that the bank has to do at the very last minute. The lender has to do at the very last minute. It involves you as the buyer, your income, your last minute credit checks, your last minute employment checks, the appraisal. All of those things get reviewed at the very end. Sometimes it is up until the wire that you get that clear to close, and that can be hard too. Again, keep yourself busy. Don't buy any unnecessary large items. If you need to buy anything or move any money, it is worth me saying this again.
What?
If you need to buy anything or move any money, I don't mean groceries. I don't mean a new pair of sneakers. If you're going to go buy a car, if you're going to go buy a refrigerator, if you're going to go buy a sofa, you have got to tell your lender. If you're going to cash out a 401k, you have got to tell your lender. If you're going to move money from a savings account to a checking account, you have got to tell your lender. It can make a difference. It can slow down closing, and that can definitely stress you out. So the easiest way to not stress out during the final few days of your under contract period is to just coast. Don't change anything in your financial picture that can cause a snag in your closing. What was the most stressful part of buying your house? I'd like to hear, or what are you worried about as you go to buy your next house? Leave me a note in the comments, and while you're here, don't forget to subscribe.